I feel like this is the point in the writer's room where they said, so The Rock's going to hold a helicopter. And no one's going to give a shit about the actual virus because he's going to hold a helicopter with his bare hands.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spoiler Warning Podcast. This is review number 568 with a review of Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. I'm Christopher Schnese.
I'm Stephen Miller.
And I'm David Klein.
And if you're joining us for the first time, the Spoiler Warning Podcast is a weekly film review program. Each week in the show, we're going to dive in, debate, discuss, and argue over the latest film releases coming to a theater near you. This week, we're here to talk about another Fast and the Furious spin-off film, and we are joined once again by David Klein. How are you doing tonight?
I am wonderful. I am so excited to talk about this movie because it was awesome.
And I'm excited because I realized I have never been on an episode with David Klein, actually.
What? How is that possible?
Yeah, it's never happened. I think you've only come in on episodes when I was, like, traveling in another place.
Oh, my God.
And so, like, you filled in for me, but we've never met.
Oh, that's right.
Well, except we worked together for, like, a year and a half, but we've never met on the podcast.
Oh, my God. What a happy occasion.
The truth of it is that, like Hobbs and Shaw, these two do not get along at all, and I have to swing in and try to get them to work together with my secret mission of releasing an episode about the film.
So
wait, is that what happened in this movie?
So you're Vanessa Kirby in this? Which one of us is attracted to you?
I'll leave it for you guys to decide. But as we were talking about a spin-off of another series, I did want to ask you guys to start off this episode, do you think that the Fast and the Furious film franchise, including this one, now have like the Marvel problem of when you watch a Hobbs and Shaw, are you not thinking, where are the Avengers? Like, basically, where is the rest of the cast? Why are just these people going off to have this mission?
Yeah, I definitely saw that headline that said they're basically in the X-Men now. But no, I'm still pretty grounded. I think this is still pretty grounded in reality. You know, besides the complete insanity of everything that happens in this movie and every moment of the movie being insane. No, I think it's still pretty good.
I will say, like, in the framing of the movie, at least, it makes sense why they are the only two people that show up. Like I feel like there's never an opportunity that they would have to, like, go back to America and, like, rally the family to drive. I still don't know what the skills of anyone in the movie, like, in the Fast and Furious franchise are, so I don't know who they would call anyway.
But they definitely... There are people who talk on phone about recording these or recruiting these two people and trying to get them to work together. Mm-hmm. You would think they also have on speed dial all the other members of the other films. I guess these two are just willing to work for less than the rest of the cast is.
Well, and these two, I mean, The Rock at least, like, is in law enforcement, so he's easy to tap, right?
Yeah.
Something like this. Jason Statham, I don't know. You guys in the movie review are going to have to tell me what he is, because this movie is not what I remember him being.
Are we going to talk about how he's basically a mass murderer? I don't understand. That is a problem I have with this character. Like, he kills a lot of people in Fast 7, so I don't know why he's walking around.
But he was killing a lot of people in protection of a baby.
What? No, he kills a lot of people in a hospital. That's how the movie starts in Fast 7. We can get into it.
That is also true.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
But the baby makes him change his ways.
Okay, so I feel like we can do it in the movie review, but there are definitely things about his character arc revealed in this movie that made me, like, almost second guess if I had seen Furious 7, because I was like, isn't he a murderer? I feel like this movie is making us, like, care a lot about his childhood and all these other things in a way that is very interesting. But
the last film does start with both him and The Rock, for some reason, breaking out of prison, right?
Oh, one of the greatest scenes ever filmed in any movie. I mean, that action sequence is incredible. And
I think, since Escape Plan has there ever been a scene.
How dare you? I watched that movie, only the first one, though, not the second or the third one. It's terrible. I don't understand what Sylvester Stallone's doing. He just needs to retire.
So this is where I reveal my shame that I have never seen Fate of the Furious.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, because in fact, I think you were on that review last time.
I did that review.
Yeah.
And it was because I was out of town, and I never caught up with it after that. And then when I saw Hobbs and Shaw, I was like, maybe I should watch Fate of the Furious. And then last night I looked at the runtime and it was 2.5 hours, and I was like,
Yeah, no, it's a schlep.
maybe I'm just gonna let them fill in the blanks on that one for me.
Yeah, but you got like Giantsbane, Mick Redhead guy who's in it from Game of Thrones. Like, it's a fun movie. You got Charlize. Like, I think that's a definite watch.
I'll do it. I just remember. So my memory of the franchise is like 5, 6, and 7 masterpieces. Great, like perfect movies as far as I'm concerned. And then 8, when it came out, I feel like I missed it, and everyone who was talking about it was kind of like mealy mouthed about it. They were kind of like, it was fun, and just nobody was that excited about the movie, so I never dove in to watch it.
Oh, wow. I did not have that experience. I remember being crazy excited about it, and I loved it. I actually think it was better than 6 and 7.
Wow.
But maybe I'm crazy.
Yep. But that's
a different podcast.
No, I believe that I enjoyed the film too. I'll be honest, I did not even go back and look at what my rating was for the previous film.
I'm sure it was a must-watch without caveat because that movie's incredible.
So
I definitely remember having fun both watching the film and recording that episode with you.
We had fun.
Speaking of things I had fun with where the sequel does not excite me at all, did you see the trailer for Jumanji 2 before this movie?
Yeah, it's all nonsense. But like, what? Like, I don't remember anything that happened in Jumanji, but the movie was awesome. I loved it.
I had fun with Jumanji.
I can't tell you what happened.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. So I think, and the fact that they changed it, spoiler for the trailer for Jumanji 2, that it's now Danny DeVito and is it Danny Glover?
Yeah, I think so.
Are like the two characters, are The Rock and Kevin Hart. That's funny. That's a clever change. So I'm definitely going to watch that movie when I rent it because I don't want to see it in the theater.
See, my feeling is, and for sure I'm going to watch it on an airplane. Like, that is where that movie lives.
Yeah.
But my feeling was that switcheroo is a funny premise. Do I want to watch 2 hours of that? Like, with characters of that, like the fish out of water thing where they're kind of going to be low energy characters who, if the trailer is any indication, like, don't have a clue what is going on. Do I want to watch that for a whole movie? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I have faith. Based on the first movie, if it's the same team that's coming back, I have faith they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
For me, being that I'm Christopher Schnese, when I watch that trailer, all I do is do people math and go, sure, you're mixing up the formula, but you haven't shown where the other 3 people went. And it just makes me wonder.
I was wondering the same thing. Like, where are all the kids then? What happened? But
like, you literally see them go into the game before the adults, before the old people do.
You are proving why we need to watch that movie. You are intrigued, as am I, and we're going to watch it together.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it. And we'll reconvene for that episode. Yes. More episodes for me. I'm so excited.
But in the meantime, we're going to review.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about this piece of shit. But actually, it's an amazing.
In the meantime, we are going to give you guys a review of Fast and Furious Present Hobbs and Shaw. But before we can do that, as always, we have to take a listen to the trailer for the film, and then when we come back, we'll have a fun little review for you.
Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw. We've got unfinished business. Shaw's sister took something from me. A virus that could wipe out half the population, and I want it back.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
It's my sister. Family business.
When it's the fate of the world, it becomes my business.
This whole thing sounds really dodgy.
Look after your sister. Listen, I'll handle it.
The only way we survive is working together, like a team.
Let's do this.
Buckle up, fat boy. On my 3, 1!
Woo! Hey, see the look on his face? You have no idea how long I've been waiting to do that.
Yeah, 'cause it's water time!
The music's already started. Let's see if we can get in sync.
So you guys are being hunted by an army of mercenaries led by a genetically enhanced soldier.
Look at me. I'm Black Superman.
You're crazy.
Damn. He really is Black Superman. You need to get off the grid.
Where?
Home.
My baby's come home.
I'm sorry to bring trouble here, Mama, but I need my brothers. This family is going to war. We're gonna need cars and guns. Mama, where's all our guns?
I get rid of them.
Very noble, Mrs. Hobbs. We are in serious trouble.
That's an understatement.
Let's get old school. Well, all right.
Come on! 'Cause it's wartime!
We're going for a ride! Woo!
Tell me this is not happening.
That was the trailer for Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. Basically, it is a film in which an evil, potentially, organization is trying to advance the human race through cybernetics and augmentation, and in the meantime, steal a scientifically manufactured virus that has the potential to destroy the entire planet, or by destroy the entire planet, I, of course, mean kill everyone on it. And Hobbs and Shaw have to do their best to track down the person who stole the virus from the bad guys and protect the virus from the bad guys so they can prevent the death of the entire planet.
Honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm glad. Is that what this movie was about?
I mean, that's the plot of this film. David
Okay.
Klein.
Fuck, did I watch Daddy Daycare?
David Klein, you are our guest on this episode. Why don't you let us know? You've already said this is a piece of shit. Why don't you let us know how you really feel?
No, okay. I have thought about this a lot because I'm really struggling with this movie because I love the characters and I love the premise and I love this series. And I know that you're supposed to turn off that part of your brain that says, hey, what's going on here? Every time you watch one of the Fast and Furious movies, because they're basically superheroes who can make cars do things that defy gravity and physics. This movie, I think, went a little too far in terms of what is realistic. I kept saying to myself, oh, he's dead. Oh, no way he survived that. We're 20 minutes in, that character is definitely dead. So it was a little troubling on that front, but I still enjoyed the movie tremendously, but it was a little too stupid to appreciate and walk away and say, that's a great movie. It was just a little too cartoonish and ridiculous. And actually, I found it pretty hard to follow geographically, and I kept asking, wait, how did they do that? Why did they do that? There was just so little explanation, which I guess when you have a movie this ridiculous is a good thing. But yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. I had a great time watching it, but it's one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen. To be really honest, it's pretty dumb. And when I came home, my wife said, "How was it?" And it was hard to show excitement because there were so many things that were just dumb and made no sense. But hell, I really enjoyed watching it, and I might watch it again.
I like how it just adding that little extra little bit of like, but I enjoyed it, and also I'm totally going to see it again.
It's I can recommend this movie, but I think if you missed it, I think you'll be okay. It's pretty stupid.
All right, Stephen Miller. David seems to think this is a terribly stupid movie, but had a lot of fun with it, wants to see it again. Where do you rest on that spectrum?
Yeah, I agree with the first part. So okay, I was trying to think about what is it about the Fast and Furious franchise that I really like, because it kind of like the more they turn into superheroes, the more it becomes a like James Bond-y, Mission Impossible type film. And the question is like, how does it carve out its own space in that world? And I think the thing is like, it isn't as cool as those movies, and the action will never be as practical or as like viscerally exciting as Mission Impossible. But what it always has is like a cartoonish fun. Like like crazy set pieces, heartwarming characters, kick-ass cars, like a good bit of comedy. Like it's the cartoon version of those movies. And in this one, I feel like all of those elements were kind of there, but not in a way that I was vibing with, the way that for most Fast and Furious movies I can. I think one problem, and this is going to sound like a very basic criticism, I don't think there's enough cars in this movie.
Like, there's not enough Fast or Furious.
Yeah, it isn't furious enough. It isn't fast enough. I mean, there are things that are really fun here. I think as the movie goes along, the set pieces get progressively better. In the beginning, I think the action choreography is dog shit. Like the opening couple set pieces in the movie for the first like half hour, I had no clue what was going on. I felt like every time the camera cuts, it's like 3 days later. Like there felt like there was no cohesion in the way that the action was filmed. And the comedy, it reminded me of when I saw Trainwrecked. And Trainwrecked, like I was brought in thinking, oh, it's a Judd Apatow movie. It's going to be really funny. Everybody likes it. And I just like didn't crack a smile that whole movie. This was kind of like that, where there are scenes that I thought should have been really funny. Like The Rock and Jason Statham facing each other in a split screen, hurling insults back and forth. And I just like I wasn't vibing with the humor of this movie at all. There are cameos that I won't name, we'll talk about it later, but none of those rubbed me the way I feel like they're supposed to. It was just kind of like, I see what you're doing and I get why it should be fun, but I'm not feeling it for some reason. I warmed up to this movie a lot as it went along. I think the like last half hour or so of this movie are legitimately just awesome fun in the normal Fast and Furious way. But man, for me, it was kind of like a slog to get there. And yeah, any form of geography doesn't make sense in this movie. Like their overnight flight from London to Russia that like is like a 3-hour plane ride or something. I think the one joke that really summarizes it to me is The Rock getting on a plane, looking at his seats to trying to figure out where he's supposed to go. And he goes, let's see, what is this? F1, F2, FU.
Yeah.
Now, 2 problems with that. No airplane in the world has ever had seats that go F1, F2, F3, F4. That's not the way seats work. Like, it's just not how it goes.
That's your complaint about this movie? I fly 3 flights a month.
Second problem, seat F would not be on that side of the plane.
Oh my God.
So if it was...
Third problem,
if it was
it's a flight to London. Nobody is like asleep during that flight.
So if it was F21, F22, FU, then it would be okay.
No. It would be 21A, 21B, 21C.
21, yeah.
It's 21A, B, C. Yeah. That's a nit, but you know, I think the way Steven characterized it is really good.
So he would just have to be going, instead of side to side, he would have to be going front to back, and then it'd be fine.
So the thing I'm trying to say, of course, that joke on its own didn't bother me that much, but I just feel like this movie is not. It knows that it wants to have the dynamic of The Rock and Jason Statham hurling insults at each other and being kind of like charming and mean at the same time, and have that kind of like frenemy dynamic. And it just feels very underwritten to me, and it makes me feel like The Rock just refuses to be in a movie where he doesn't look really good and nice all the time, because it just felt very like soft in the way that it lobbed anything that was supposed to be like cutting or entertaining. So I don't know. I think the set pieces get better as it goes along, but I was just not vibing this movie for the first half. And I was sad because all I wanted was to turn off my brain for 2 hours and enjoy a Fast and Furious type movie.
There's only so many pieces of the brain to turn off, but not vibing is exactly how I felt with a lot of the humor and a lot of the scenes where it was like, there were a couple things where I actually was the only one in the theater laughing hysterically, but we can talk about the ridiculous toilet humor that made me laugh so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I once again agree with you guys. This film is an incredibly dumb film. I mean, I did my best to summarize the entire plot of the film, some of the details of which, when we have a spoiler segment, I can really go into why I think it's incredibly dumb. But I think, in general, I didn't hate the experience of watching this film. That's not exactly praise, but it was a thing where it was trying hard enough, and it was one of those things where like, oh, This was just an excuse to get a paycheck and kind of have fun doing stupid shit and kind of have fun doing action things. This wasn't like a serious attempt to try to make something, which is sad, and which is why it's a spin-off too, and not just like another continued sequel. Because I feel like the last few Fast and Furious films have actually like tried to be legit action films that are kind of interesting and really have enough excitement in them to make you really want to root for them. And I think this film was just like, no, we just really like these two characters that we're playing. What if we did it again and just made it a side mission with just us and let us do our own thing? Which is also crazy because there are world ending stakes involved in the plot that these villains have. And it's weird that it's just like, oh, we'll just throw these two people who aren't clearly the best people for the job. They're just the people that this film wanted to show. And it doesn't do a good job of convincing us that they can do things. Like in the past films, they needed people who were like already outlaws, who don't have to play within the system, who it doesn't matter if they get caught. They needed like a Suicide Squad, right? And all of the people from the cast fit that bill. In this film, it's just like, oh, this guy's a legit officer of something, and this guy is in another country, so it doesn't matter. Let's go have them work on this thing. I don't know. It felt a little insane. It felt like they tried too hard to make an overly complicated plot. And in the end, while I was totally fine with like the silly humor and just playing along, it didn't rise to the level of what some of these other Fast and Furious franchise films have been achieving of late.
Yeah, I think I agree. I kind of feel like the tenor of this conversation is that we should like go into spoilers and just like tear through specific parts of the movie.
No, but think about how sad that is. I mean, if you close your eyes and you unwatch this movie, and I tell you there's going to be a movie where The Rock and Jason Statham team up to take on Idris frickin' Elba, that should be the greatest movie ever made.
Yep.
And the fact that it's not is really sad. And I mean, again, had fun watching it, but this is a huge piece of shit. Like, this movie is not a good movie, even though some amazing stuff happens in it. I'm just sad. But
yeah.
Again, so much fun, and that motorcycle was awesome. But you mentioned world-ending stakes. What are the world-ending stakes? I never felt like the world was going to end.
The entire death of all human life on the planet.
Yeah, I liked it better when it was called Inferno.
You can say that, but like, how? They never answered any questions.
They expressly stated what the problem was, which we will get to in spoilers.
But not like, in a very perfunctory way where I didn't feel like you actually get a sense of like the ticking time bomb of anything. Like,
there's a literal ticking time bomb.
Like here, I think my problem
is there. You can say that, but like we don't actually like. Usually, when there's world-ending stakes, they give you a taste of what happens. They show you someone get really sick from it, or they show you where it was experimented.
Who we are not talking about yet because it's not spoilers. Who says exactly what the stakes are?
Yeah, but they just say it. They don't show it.
They don't. You don't actually know. You don't actually feel that something bad might happen.
I wanted them to spray it.
Yeah. Instead of saying, "Oh my God."
Well, one of the things this person says is that they will spray it.
Oh my God.
No, I just didn't. Yeah, no, I feel that too. Like the stakes are, and I think my problem is, I think The Rock was like a producer on this movie, as he is in many of the movies now that he is in, and he's said a thing before where he doesn't want to be in a film that could have an unhappy ending or like where there is any question that the good guys will prevail. And I think what that leads to, at least in a movie like this, is this kind of feeling that like we are so sure that Hobbs and Shaw will get the bad guy in the end. Like they don't even bother to make us feel what would happen if they didn't. And that's kind of like a lack of stakes to me.
Do you remember the beginning of speaking of The Rock, the movie The Rock? You see the VX poison gas escape and you see what happens and you're like, oh shit, that's really scary. Here, one of the cameo people explains it, but in a comedic way. It's just, I never felt scared.
But so feeling scared and feeling in universe it would be scary is two different things, obviously. Because as we said, we know that The Rock can't exist in a film that can't have some sort of happy ending. But it is explained clearly in a way that is the thing that is explained defines a state in which if we could see the result, it would be too late to deal with the result, right? if we can see any evidence of this being true, then the world's already fucked. So, like, I feel it establishes its own stakes and sets its own rules, and I'm fine with it.
I remember this is, if you think about it, it's the exact same plot as Mission Impossible 2. And I remember being a lot more scared of that virus. And I don't know why. Am I not articulating this well? Like, the woman had the virus in her body, the woman from Westworld. And I thought, oh, she could actually kill everyone on the world, because I think we knew what the virus was. Whereas this was like, I actually wish we knew more about it, because this was some kind of technology, like bioengineered nanobot kind of. Oh, did I just spoil it? But anyways, yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
well, again,
I made
huge
a joke.
Piece of shit.
I made a joke
movie.
that I liked it better when it was called Inferno, but it's true. Like, even that Da Vinci Code sequel movie, like, I felt more of the biological threat or whatever than I did here, which is fine. Like, this is just a silly movie. It's just it felt like it only wanted it to be about the bromance between Jason Statham and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and like, when that didn't pay off, the lack of everything else also kind of piled on to make me not be that into it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I God damn it. Yeah, I just think about the scenes where you got the two of them insulting each other, and it wasn't landing, even though there were some pretty funny lines. But I
think I could be wrong. I feel like the not landing is supposed to sort of be that these guys are sort of dweeby, and like, they are not, like, they're really confident, but don't actually have the quick wits to actually be able to legitimately insult each other. They're two people blowing smoke at each other, and no matter what the other person says, they still think they're winning this back and forth because they're both so full of themselves.
But why was this Jason Statham character not funny, but the one in Spy is hysterical?
Yeah,
because the one in Spy is directly making fun of every other role he's ever played in his entire life.
Okay,
but this could have been too if this is deflating him as the big bad spy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why is he not in jail again? I don't understand. He is a mass murderer. I know. I keep saying that, but holy shit,
but
this guy is a terrorist.
He's redeemed. We're gonna get into it
based
on like one line in this movie. Yeah. So can I say something that is gonna probably get me like ratioed on the internet, or what if we had fans? So I'm supposed to love Idris Elba in everything. The internet loves Idris Elba. They want him to be the next James Bond. He's supposed to be the next everything. For the last few movies I've seen him in, like, I haven't cared about Idris Elba at all. And in this movie, I feel like he is not giving me very much to work with here. I feel like the bad guy is kind of like barely sketched out. I'm the bad guy, and like, aside from a British accent, I'm not getting a lot of like personality or like scenery chewing from this character.
I mean, have you seen any movie ever? The British accent is all you need to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't that scary. I mean, he was scary, but like, I didn't know what was I also have a lot of questions about him. Like, what was that organization? Was he wasn't the leader? What was his goal? It was very, I don't know. It was a lot of stuff was missing. I kept wondering what is going on here and why are they doing these things? And I don't know. I think the same. Idris Elba, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, why was he so flat? And what was his eyes, and what was going on with his back? And he was bulletproof, but then it turned out to be his suit. Like, what was going on in this movie? It made no sense.
So I think him existing as a character is fine. The problem is that the thing that makes him scary is all the augmentation, and most of the augmentation we actually see and can understand visually is really fucking dumb. So
yeah, why is he strong? They don't actually ever explain it.
It's cybernetic augmentation, man. He's like basically part robot. There's a line in the film where he talks about like slowly replacing all of his body until eventually he's all machine. Which, like, whatever, that's fine. But like, I feel like within the story, he is scary because he's willing to do whatever it takes to further this organization's power, and he's formidable because he's like an unstoppable machine. He is like, he says he's Black Superman. He's sort of just like a Terminator, right? He's basically a Terminator, and
they call him that. That
is fine and stuff, but when you rely too much on all these like little visual flares, and it's not that he's super proficient at fighting, it's that his cybernetic eyes can magically detect when somebody's gonna punch or whatever the hell that's supposed to indicate to us. Like, that sort of shit is dumb and makes him less exciting. It would be more badass if he was just fucking tough as hell and was just kicking the shit out of everybody. But instead, they have to make him like the amount of people that The Rock has fought in these films when the size differential doesn't like explain like a strength differential, right? Like I feel like we don't need him to be cybernetic in any way. He could just be badass and still fight him and still be just as scary.
Imagine how much scarier he'd be if he just beat the shit out of The Rock. Like in Avengers when Thanos beats the shit out of Hulk, and you're like, oh my God, that guy's really scary.
Yeah.
Without any magic. He just beats him up, you know?
Well, I feel like even in the other Fast and Furious movies, like in Furious 7, if I remember right, I feel like Jason Statham's character is like, he can go hand to hand with like pretty much any of the Fast and Furious guys.
Yeah.
And he's presented there as a kind of like nearly unstoppable force, you know? And I feel like they do well at that without having to give this like crazy backstory. But in all honesty, I don't give a shit about the backstory. I'm totally cool with cybernetic everything. It's just like, it didn't build into a more scary character for me.
But then it's sci-fi. It ruined the grounding of the movie because none of that stuff is real.
They were in like Dubai or whatever, flying cars through skyscrapers. Like this has been sci-fi for the last few films.
I remember what I was going to say. When you say Jason Statham can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the Fast and Furious franchise, just always remember, asterisk, they are DVD thieves. They are not actually superheroes.
No, they started as DVD thieves.
DVD player thieves who can drive Honda Civics really fast. I don't know why they are martial arts experts and can jump out of airplanes and can swim underwater for an hour. Like, what is going on here? This franchise is crazy.
They can fall out of airplanes in cars. That's different than jumping out of an airplane.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me. This movie really needed Tyrese. I'm just going to put that out there. If they could have called, so I think you're right with the Avengers problem. That took me a while to figure out what that meant because I thought you meant are they superheroes, but you just meant why does no one ever call the Avengers in any Marvel movies? Yeah. Why don't they just call Tyrese for some comedy? Like he could have actually made both these guys funny, but yeah, whatever. Maybe he should get a spin-off movie. That would be cool.
They called a smaller Tyrese.
Speaking of falling, there's a scene in this movie toward the beginning when the set pieces weren't working for me at all yet. When Idris Elba jumps out a window and some like 20 seconds later, Jason Statham and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson follow and they're both going down and everyone is going down below them. And at some point, The Rock just does a thing that makes him fall like 5 times faster than everybody else. And it doesn't make any sense.
So Idris Elba and his 2 henchmen are rappelling down a building. So they jump as these like cybernetic ropes attached to their backs and start slowing their descending. The Rock just jumps.
No, but he's in a falling ledge first, and then he like leaps from the ledge and he starts going like triple the speed.
Well, no, I thought he grabbed on with his
hands.
He
grabs onto his hand
and then he just lets go
while he's swinging, and then he lets go to free fall again, and he keeps letting go to free fall between different people.
Okay, I ask that people watch that again and tell me if he falls at the same speed as other falling bodies. I don't think he does.
It is exactly
it's in
the
trailer.
same.
You could go watch it right now for free.
It's exactly the same as Minority Report when he's on the side of the building with all like the automated cars, right? Where it's like the cars are on a road that chooses how fast they fall downward. In that film, Tom Cruise is jumping between these vehicles. When he jumps, he falls at, he accelerates until terminal velocity until he hits an object, and then the cars don't change their speed because they're being controlled by the environment they're driving in. And he's basically doing
I gotta have a sidebar with Steven right now. Steven, what the hell did he just say? I have no idea what he's talking about. Steven, are you still with us? Because what did he just say? I don't know what that was.
I mean, he's talking about another movie that was like 15 years old, but he remembers very specific ways the character jumped around.
I'm just
15 years old. I got that DVD from my girlfriend's mother in 2001.
Yeah?
2002,
Was it a hot DVD that was stolen from a bunch of DVD thieves?
All right, I take it back. It's 17 years old. I was goddamn close.
I vividly remember because it was open and I'm like, oh my God, you're re-gifting this? Oh.
I hereby withdraw my complaint about The Rock falling, but I still think it is a trope in all these movies that things don't fall at the same speed. Like if you like curl up or try hard, you suddenly go faster.
Yeah.
That's how
I mean, you're
Spider-Man
missing
saves
when
people
he
too.
fell onto a car from like 10 stories and just walked away. Again, that would kill someone. This is like watching Home Alone. They'd be dead 10 times over.
But this is The Rock, guys.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty amazing,
Two
right?
things I know about The Rock. He can never die, and he's always a good dad. Those are the two constants in every movie.
Yeah, and he can do the haka dance.
Hmm.
Is it a dance or is it a routine?
I think it's a... I got nothing.
Performance? I swear I've brought up the haka on this very podcast before, so something's going on here.
Probably.
Oh, it's because I reviewed Phosphate. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, at least he's allowed to do it.
Did you just refer to it as Fost 8?
I did mispronounce the word fast. Oh, so Steven hasn't seen Phosphate, so he doesn't even know about the haka dance. Oh my god.
No, I've seen that bit on YouTube. Somebody showed it to me this week.
Okay, good.
And I did look it up, and
watch
the Rock is half Samoan, so he's allowed to do it, which is good.
Yeah, and I need to quit.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely need to stop.
So speaking of quitting, should we get to our official verdicts for this so that we can have a spoiler conversation about this film?
Yep.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
remind me, it's 5 tiers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like the 5th time you've been on this episode.
Yeah, but it's a lot
one
of tiers.
for every appearance, man. All right.
Yeah.
So, David Klein, if you were going to give this a must-see, a recommend with a caveat, a wait for rental, a pass with a caveat, or a must-avoid, what would you give Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw?
I think it is a must-see. Still, even though it's a really big piece of shit, I think you must see this movie because...
So it's like one of those shits where like you're drunk at 3 a.m. and you're like, holy shit, I need my buddy to see this.
I've literally...
That only happened one time, Chris.
Never experienced that feeling. Holy crap, that's really gross. But, you know, whatever you and your pals do on WhatsApp, just keep me out of it. Put that on Telegram. No, even though we have all these negative things, like this movie still has The Rock, Jason Statham, Idris Elba, an amazing motorcycle. Like that motorcycle is basically a character. It's like the cape from Doctor Strange.
It's like New York and Woody Allen.
It is so awesome, and this movie is so stupid. But like, you just gotta see it. You have to see it. It's so stupid. Like it's so fun. Yeah. So it's a recommend with a caveat. I mean, a must see.
You talk yourself down.
It's not as good as Fost 8.
I've rehearsed this. I got over my conscience. I was going to give it a must-see. Damn it, I said the wrong thing.
I think it's better than like, you know, Tokyo Drift and Fast and Furious, but I think still Fast and the Furious, let's see, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 are better than this movie, but it's still a must-see.
So I just have one question for you, David, for our listeners that are listening right now. How much is Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw's paying you to prop this movie up?
No, I am not being subtle. It is a piece of shit. And I came home and told my wife all the stupid things that are in this movie. And she was excited, and now she's not going to see it. She's like, obviously, this movie is stupid. And I said, yeah, but it's awesome. But it's not quite the kind of, you know, when bad movies are super awesome and you're like, you just don't get it, man. No, this is not one of those. This is not a great bad movie. This is a great movie that is really stupid. And I think it's an important distinction. I'm comfortable with saying that.
Can you give me another movie that you would categorize that way?
That is, wait, which one though? A great bad movie or a great movie that's
also very stupid?
A great movie that's also very stupid. Oh, you gotta let me think about that.
While David's thinking about this,
yeah, let me think about that. Come back to me,
Stephen Miller. If you were going to give this a must see, recommend with the caveat, wait for rental, pass with the caveat, or a must avoid, what would you give it?
I think I'm giving this pass with a caveat, actually. I felt like it was like there was fun to be had, especially toward the end, but I felt like there was a lot of dead air leading up to it. And like in the end, maybe it was my mood. You know, I wanted to see a brain dead movie, but you know, it either has to click or not click. And maybe I was just not in the mood where it clicked with me right away. But this was not the fun that I thought I was going to have. So like, whatever. It's worth something if you want to see those like crazy set pieces. But I feel like there are better movies that do the dumb action thing like substantially better than this one, including Deadpool 2, the last movie that this guy directed. So like, go see that one instead.
2012.
Huh? Oh, the movie.
That's the movie.
The movie 2012.
A huge piece of shit, awesome movie.
Yep.
There you go. Nailed it.
I'll allow
I
it.
was like, what was 2000? Oh,
Yeah,
the
not
movie.
Deadpool 2. I'm not that
yeah.
old.
No. Deadpool 2 is pretty great. Actually, I don't know about Deadpool 2, but we can talk about that.
Yep.
So anyways, I am going to give this film a wait for rental. It is a film that you should watch while you're waiting for another officially titled Fast and Furious film to come out. That's not to say that I'm not ready to watch the sequel to this, which apparently has the same world-ending problem, just the opposite. So I'll check out the next one. I just hope that next time around they don't they realize that they can't just get away with having fun. They have to at least try to make something of a story. Like one of the things that made the last few films so great is that it went above what we expected from them. And then this one was like, well, I mean, everybody loves us now, so we can just do whatever. And then we got something that was not as good as it potentially could have been. But still enjoyed the time I had sitting in the theater watching it. But I'm going to give it a wait for rental.
I think we have to go into spoilers because everybody here seems to know something about how the next movie will go. That makes me think I left the credits too early.
I don't understand what you even mean when you say the opposite. So I'm very curious. I think we should go to spoilers.
We will. For the people who aren't going to stick for spoilers, we have to do the usual goodbyes. So David Klein, if people want to find you throughout the week, where can they do that?
Oh, throughout the week, gosh. You can find me at Blue Bottle. Not a sponsor. No, I'm D.I. Klein, as in Calvin Klein, no relation, on Twitter. And I always love the tweets, so tweet me up, baby.
Stephen Miller.
You can find me at twitter.com/sdavidmiller or sdavidmiller.com. And not at Blue Bottle, more likely at Sightglass or Ritual.
People can find me at ChristopherInRealLife.com or twitter.com/ChristopherIRL. You can find the podcast over at thespoilerwarning.com where you can get a bunch of the back episodes of the show. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can do so on Overcast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are found. If you want to know when the episodes go live, you can follow us at twitter.com/spoilerwarning, facebook.com/thespoilerwarning, and instagram.com/thespoilerwarning. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you can send an email to fans@thespoilerwarning.com, or you can use the contact form on our site. Music for this episode will come from the soundtrack to Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, so hopefully you were enjoying Idris Elba rapping in the background.
Oh my god. He is a rapper, by the way. Boasty.
Oh,
Boasty.
yeah.
My wife loves that song.
But yeah, so that song is playing.
Did I mention my wife loves Idris Elba? So yeah.
Well, she might be loving if she's listening, hearing that song right now. But when that music fades away, we will be in full-blown spoilers, so I can explain to these guys what they missed from those ending credit sequences.
This is like
of this
two
film.
movies in a row, I feel like, where I left before the right end credit sequence happened. Because in Spider-Man Far From Home, I also left before the second end credit sequence, and it took the internet to teach me what I missed.
Yeah. I mean, you're arguably not missing too much in this episode, but it's relevant to the statement I was making.
Okay.
So, we'll be back in a moment. See you then. All right, we are back. This is spoiler territory. It is the after part of our review of Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. We are talking full-blown spoilers for that film. So, here it goes.
Wait, can I get a little love here? I think this is the first time I've been on the podcast, and I did not massively spoil anything before the spoiler section, where Chris has to say, oh god, I have to fucking bleep all this shit out. Oh god. Well, so congratulations to me.
It's the magic of editing. I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to get, too tired and just be able to start releasing episodes where I don't do any editing at all. So it's good to keep me on my toes.
Yeah. Anyways, continue, sorry.
Okay, so as I said, this is spoilers. If you haven't seen the film, hope you don't care about spoilers because they're coming at you right now. Okay, so 2 minutes ago, we were talking about the fact that the sequel to this film is going to be the opposite of this film, or basically the same exact premise, but the opposite. In one of the post-credit sequence or mid-credit sequences or whatever it was, Ryan Reynolds says, "Remember the virus that you just stopped? Remember how it melted your insides? Or it melted your outside?" Or yeah, whatever he says. He says, "We have the same problem again. This time, it's the opposite. It melts your outsides. Your skin just falls off."
Okay, I did see that part.
Okay.
I didn't interpret that as a sequel. I interpret that as, let's let Ryan Reynolds talk for 45 more seconds because it's just fun.
So we can spoil Game of Thrones, too, and make a little extra joke in there.
Wait, that was not the first time in the movie he brought up Game of Thrones, by the way.
No.
Isn't it?
True. Well, the daughter brought up Game of Thrones, and he riffs off what the daughter
He just says,
says.
like, a Lannister pays his debts.
Yeah.
But then at the end, I felt like the only reason for that end credit, like that pre-roll credits thing, was for him to spoil in, like, one sentence the way Game of Thrones ended.
Yeah.
Potentially. Or it could be like the end of the first Back to the Future, when Doc Brown shows back up in the DeLorean and says, "No, it's not you, it's your kids. We got to go." And then it actually sets up the next film.
Yeah. Remember when movies had heart?
Nope.
No.
I do.
And good soundtracks. I really didn't interpret it that way. I thought he was just being goofy Ryan Reynolds. Because to do the exact opposite, that's stupid. That would be a really lame sequel.
Yeah.
But as we've already established, this was a really lame spinoff. So what's to stop them?
I thought the other one was that they would have to take on the mysterious leader of the eugenics organization.
Yeah.
I assume it's just Jeffrey Epstein.
Remember, the mysterious leader of this organization, who's just a waveform on a computer, his whole plan is take virus, kill all the planet. Virus is stopped. Is he just going to go like, "I guess the virus way is out," or is he going to go, more viruses?
He wasn't going to kill all the planet, only the weak people. They make it very clear.
Yeah. True.
So who do we think the mysterious waveform person is?
I'm going to be honest. I thought it was Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
He says, "Don't you remember me?" It's like a hint.
I don't know.
But who cares? Like, what? It's so stupid. Like, I don't know. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they didn't get a sequel. Because it's the same thing that's happened to Star Wars, where they kept, pumping out these movies and they're mediocre and they're just like, fuck it, don't do any more of those.
Mm-hmm. So the question did Kurt Russell's character or Eastwood's character die in the other films?
I don't know.
Why do you think that? Because it didn't make an appearance?
No, I'm saying that it could be either of them, too, since they were both interested in God's Eye and all these different things on their organizations. And I feel like Eastwood was definitely being, like, cast aside as not cool.
Oh, wow.
So if we were going to go sort of like a, Incredibles sort of route where, like, maybe now he's trying to become really cool with cybernetic
Want to hear an answer that is going to make everyone sad?
Yeah.
What if it's Han? He survived and got, like, cybernetics to survive the explosion.
My God.
Yep.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. Oh my God, that would make me so happy. That's amazing.
Because I think they're going to have to bring him back now to make it so we don't hate Jason Statham's character anymore.
But so
we don't. We love Jason Statham.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I mean, I still have problems with the death of Han in terms of trying to like Shaw. And I feel like the only way they can rectify that if they want Shaw to be like a good guy continuing in the real franchise.
So what if
to like bring Han back somehow?
What if Han comes back, stabs Shaw, and then we have a Shawshank Redemption?
I hate you so much. I feel like we're not touching on a lot of stuff here. We really got okay. My number one complaint. There's a great movie called True Lies. And there's a huge set piece that costs a lot of money. I remember it was a big deal where Arnold Schwarzenegger
just
gets
real fast,
in a...
I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies, so I just watched True Fibs.
Oh my God, I hate you so much. So Arnold
Schwarzenegger to the
Schwarzenegger...
Chopper movie, right?
No, that's Predator.
What?
In True Lies, doesn't he like get it, like jump in a helicopter in the final scene?
Isn't it a Harrier?
It's a Harrier jet.
Damn it!
And it's a big deal. So in this movie, they go to Moscow and they go to some mobster's house, and there's a bunch of women who are stealing from that mobster. And one of them's that amazing woman from Baby Driver. Love her. She's great. And then all of a sudden, there is a Harrier jet in the backyard. And they use that Harrier jet to fly somewhere, I don't know. Who has extra? This really bothered me. Who has extra Harrier jets? Answer that question for me.
Russian oligarchs.
Who has one to spare? That is so stupid that it pissed me off. That they just climbed in the back of one and flew away.
Who has just the amount of Harrier jets that are necessary?
That really upset me because that's just so stupid. Again, that's one of 20 things that's just really stupid in this movie. But I think we need to focus on what was really funny. There were two. It was a joke.
Before we get to funny things, I have one more thing to rant about because I want to get it out of the way. Because since you guys didn't like my last rant,
the Shawshank Redemption rant.
No, that was just a joke. That wasn't a rant. But here's an honest to God rant that I couldn't stop thinking about during the film. We talked about the world-ending stakes. You guys say you don't believe the stakes. I was like, the stakes were right there. What annoys me about the stakes is not that they weren't there, as I already stated. I believe they're there. The problem for me is, so the scientist states that he was trying to make a, quote, virus as a carrier for a thing that would actually vaccinate the world against all these different diseases and things and basically make the world a better place. The evil organization gets it, re-engineers it to be able to bio-target certain strands of DNA within certain parts of the population and kill all these people, right?
You already have thought way more about this than I did.
That's what they state to us. Here's the thing that pisses me off.
Do it.
I'm not a biochemical scientist, right?
You're not.
But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, even if I was purposely trying to kill people, I would not design my virus so that if I don't pick a target, it targets everyone. You design it so if you don't pick a target, it targets no one. There is zero reason why this virus is default state, if you don't pick a target, should be, now it's just a thing that becomes airborne and literally kills everyone you sneeze at. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, so my understanding of it was not, and I didn't think this was explained at all, but I thought he didn't develop the virus, he developed the transmission method for the virus.
Yeah.
And he developed something that could be transmitting vaccines to everyone in the world, and they instead bootstrapped a virus on top of that thing, and now the everyone in the world part is what he invented, and the fact that it's a virus that melts their insides or whatever, who knows where that came from. That was my understanding of it.
The virus is the carrier. So the virus is a no.
Sorry, my head
that's
just
not
exploded.
supposed to be a mind explosion thing. It's a thing. If you listen to the podcast episode I sent you on about the destruction of the human race,
But the existential threat from biotech comes from the type of research called gain of function. No longer were researchers dealing with wild viruses and bacteria. They were forcing evolution in them by speeding up mutations and altering them genetically to be deadlier and more contagious.
You know that what scientists do is they make viruses as they use to try to modify genetic code and other things, and they basically create these super viruses in an attempt to make things that spread. So the virus is the carrier, so you infect everybody, but the, quote, harmful thing about the virus is that it makes you immune to measles and whatever, right? So the virus is a carrier for whatever they want to do. These people just made it so the virus, instead of being there for the general populace, targets certain programmed DNAs. So it'll lie dormant unless you exhibit these certain markers within your genetic code. So the thing he did design is the ability to, or basically the bad guys modified his design to, instead of carry good things, carry bad things. Mm-hmm. But the bad guys are the ones that made it target certain things. But it just seems stupid to me that it would go oh, you literally didn't say go, so now it's just threatening to everybody, because it would theoretically kill the organization as well. Even Idris Elba, who is now all.
No, but he's strong.
Yeah,
but only the weak die.
No. It's targeted, so only the weak die. If you don't set the target, everyone dies.
I feel like this is the point in the writer's room where they said, so the Rock's going to hold a helicopter. And no one's going to give a shit about the actual virus because he's going to hold a helicopter with his bare hands.
Yeah,
and he's going to do it exactly the same exact shot as Chris Evans does.
I thought it was just like Inferno, where it isn't that they're targeting the weak, it's that they make a thing that is just by the nature of how it works. People who aren't strong enough to survive it will die off.
No, because the scientist says they're like, get this out of me. And he goes, oh, I can't get it out of you.
Oh my God, that was amazing. That was a great accent. You should do accent work. Can you do the rest of the podcast in that accent, please?
I can't hold it that long. It's a thing that I have to channel momentarily.
Yeah, it's a passionate thing that just comes out for one sentence.
Nice.
But no, like basically he states that like, oh, now this is really fucked up because you have to kill her and completely incinerate the body so that there's nothing left but ash. If it was just a thing that only targeted the weak people, why would you need to incinerate her since she's clearly strong?
It was actually a funny scene where he explains how much they need to burn her. I did enjoy that.
Yep.
Not to move away from this wonderfully scientific conversation. The haka dance, huge letdown. Huge letdown. It was The Rock, and then they showed all the guys hit their arms one time, and that was it. I feel like they should have really leaned into it and let that go on for a while. I don't understand why they rushed it. The girls in Fast 8, the soccer team, had more time doing the shtick than these guys did. I thought that was really disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. And it's one of those things, like many scenes in this movie, that was entirely shown in the trailer already, too. So there's nothing to even really enjoy about it.
I think, in theory, it would have gone on more. But the point of that scene was that as they're doing it, it was going to be like the equivalent of Indiana Jones and like the sword flinger guy, like doing the thing, and then he just pulls out the gun and shoot him. That was literally going to be the way they stopped the dance. He's like, light them up, and then they go to shoot, and none of the guns work because they've been disabled by our hacker friend. And then they're like, what? Didn't work. Now
no, but I
fuck 'em
think
up.
the haka happens after that. I think the first thing they try to do is shoot, and then they go like, oh, you're fucked now. Let's haka. Like, I feel like that's how it goes.
I'm pretty sure he says light him up during the haka.
But if you just watch on YouTube, go to the All Blacks, the rugby team, and like the one with the most millions of hits, and it's like a good 60 seconds, and it's so exciting. Mm-hmm. And this one, what the hell? This is like a great opportunity. You get these guys do the thing, and they don't do the thing. Yeah. It was so quick. It was like, I don't know. I was really disappointed by that.
But I can't criticize the Samoa scenes because for whatever reason, I was in a mood where like everything worked on Samoa to me. Like the character dynamics worked. Like, sure, The Rock feels bad he hasn't visited his family. Okay, I'm in that movie now. Like I was fine with it.
Yeah.
The haka thing, I felt like, yeah, you get them. You show these people we've never really learned anything about how you, who we also have never learned anything about, can beat them. Like, cool, whatever. The truck chase where they just start like daisy chaining trucks to each other or Jeeps to each other. Great. I was into it. 100% into it.
Okay, so I would like to be into that, but I was out of it before it started. But also, the way Idris Elba fixes the situation is just pull the stick off the cliff. Like, why did he not think of it until all the way at the end of the chase? Like, all he had to do is from the very first moment go to the left, and now he's over a cliff and it drags the cars off there.
But that wouldn't help him get away if they're weighing him down.
When it was the first car, the whole point is that he could already get up. Like,
so the first car he could have done that, but he didn't. Now when he was being weighed down, if he went off the cliff, they would send him down with him probably.
I think it would have been fine.
He wants to get away with Vanessa Kirby.
Because basically all he has to do is keep
press
the
helicopter.
Turbo
Button on the helicopter. Every vehicle has a turbo button.
No. Well, I mean, only the Fast and Furious vehicles.
Yeah.
But all he has to do is pull all the vehicles off the cliff, keep the helicopter upright until the first of the vehicles, which are the part that is adding enough weight to stop him, reach the water. And then now the problem isn't there because those vehicles go down.
But he's still connected to them, right?
I think it's fine.
Where does the
you're
rope
forgetting
go?
The Rock would have just grabbed the helicopter.
Those truck nuts are locked to each other. Like they're not going anywhere. They've automatically rotated to latch onto each other.
Did you notice that right before that whole scene starts, The Rock is fighting and he's doing this thing where he's got the garb on, and then he's on the truck. And as he's running towards the truck, he's putting on a T-shirt.
He puts on a shirt?
He puts on a T-shirt, and then he gets on the truck, and he's wearing khaki pants. Now, why did they have to do a wardrobe change between the fight and the truck scene?
Was it khaki pants or was it khaki shorts? Because I thought he had his little thing.
It was khaki long pants. He was wearing the skirt thing.
And
then he's on the truck with a T-shirt and khaki pants.
Have you seen those shorts that have zippers?
No. But you still wouldn't get them. What if? Because he definitely grabs the shirt runs and he
Yes.
puts it on as he's jumping onto the truck. So that
Then he's
we
wearing
can
the
be okay
pants.
with.
He has Iron Man type pants.
What if he had, because he knew the pants would look stupid coming out from under the thing, what if
He'd
he
have them scrunched
rolled
up.
his pants up to his
Yeah.
knees, put the thing on, and as he runs, he's just so fucking fast that it unrolls the pants.
I feel like I lose respect for him if he wore anything under that skirt. I feel like a real
But
man wouldn't
why?
do that.
Why did he change clothes? And I think I know the answer.
Is it
and
wind?
I'm very proud of this. I think it's because if you got a regular stunt man, he wouldn't look like The Rock with no shirt on. They had to put the clothes on to hide the fact that in all these shots, it's someone else on the back of that truck.
Are
There's
you
another
saying,
stuntman holding a
so
helicopter.
first of all, are you telling me you think there's a real truck at all?
Valid point.
I'm not even convinced there's a real Samoa they went to.
It could be like Mad Max, where there's a truck that's just not moving.
Yep.
Or it's moving like 1 mile an hour. But that was my theory, is that they just got a bald stunt man and they put him in the same clothes and you don't know the difference.
See, I felt like it was because they wanted him to be in the traditional outfit for the haka, but they knew, and maybe they had already filmed the helicopter related scenes, and they knew like there are going to be shots from below facing upward, and we can't have The Rock in a skirt for this. Okay,
Yeah.
we're wearing pants for this scene. We'll figure it out later. And they didn't figure it out later.
I think
so they just made him
this
throw on
bothered me
pants
a
while he
lot.
was running.
I think the better thing would be, so you have the scene earlier where the woman from Mission Impossible takes off her jacket while fighting. The Rock should have put on his pants while fighting.
Oh, I feel really bad. We barely talked about Vanessa Kirby. And
Yeah.
she was great.
She was definitely the best thing about the movie. to
Every
me.
second, she was so awesome. I love her. I think she's incredible. She made the movie so much better.
See, for me, the only problem, though, is her in the movie reminded me of Mission Impossible. And then I was like, why is this not as good as Mission Impossible?
Also,
It's funny. I keep hearing about how she was in Mission Impossible. I don't remember her inMission Impossible. Is she the singer?
She's like in
She's
the
in the
second to last
nightclub.
movie.
Yeah.
She is like
In the nightclub.
Yeah.
His
no
equal,
memory of
basically.
that.
yeah, she's like the one who's running that nightclub when that pass off of the whatever is supposed to happen. But
And then Superman cocks his arms as he's fighting, which is amazing.
But okay, so here's the real problem with her character though, is like we know she's badass and she can fight, but instead of getting to see her fight, she just has a Ghostbusters backpack on for the last part of the movie.
Oh my god, that's so good. I love that it's the Ghostbusters backpack.
It basically
But we get
is.
to see her fight enough. I mean, she fights. Oh, there was a great moment in this movie. So have you guys ever like weightlifted and like gotten really into it when you're in your 20s?
I literally can say I've never done that.
Okay, so there's a thing in weightlifting called Turkish get-ups. Are you familiar?
No. Is that like a sort of delicious sweet?
It's a thing that you do that like you get up off the ground and you have a weight in your hand. And The Rock at one point in this movie literally does a Turkish get up with Vanessa Kirby, and it's pretty awesome. In their first fight, where he puts her up on his arm, and then he's lying on the ground and he gets up, and it's pretty much a human Turkish get up. And I just
where like
really
she has him
appreciate
in
that.
like the arm hold and he just stands up and then she's like suspended
She's
20 feet in the air.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess for all the weightlifting fans out there, I got you.
So okay, I liked her in this movie. Like I think she was probably my favorite character in the movie. Her and The Rock. There's two dynamics we're supposed to believe with her in this movie.
Gross.
One is she is the sister of Jason Statham, whom he loves. He loves her so much that his childhood memories don't involve Luke Evans at all anymore. It's just him and her as kids running around doing stuff.
Wait, don't they have a line about how the brother's dead?
I feel like they filmed that like way after they filmed the rest of the movie because they were just like, oh, somebody is mad that we didn't acknowledge that like his whole motivation in Furious 7 was the death of his brother. And now we're just like making their family unit be three people who love each other and escape from prison
he
all the
said,
time.
like, I killed my brother or something.
No. So we see him get a phone call and we see him go kill the whatever. We do not know that the phone call wasn't his mom or his sister and that it wasn't his personal motivations, but just his family member telling him to do the thing. Potentially.
Wait.
Just saying.
What was Steven's other dynamic? The romance? The
romance
gross
between
romance
her and
that
The
I was
Rock.
not on board for at all.
Yeah, didn't
The
make any
Rock is
sense.
not a sexual being.
No.
He is asexual.
Yeah.
He should not be with anybody.
No, I agree completely. There was
You disagree completely?
No, I agree with you completely. There was a woman sitting next to me in the theater who was like kind of talking at the movie which was fine. Like this is a movie that I'm not going to be a stickler for people being quiet the whole time or anything. And the one time she vehemently disagreed with the movie is when Vanessa Kirby leaned in and kissed The Rock, and she was just like, "Oh no."
I have an ex-girlfriend who had a big crush on The Rock, and she told me the story many, many times that she once saw him and that they locked eyes. And every time she told the story, it hurt a little bit. But so I do know that women like him. I do understand.
Yeah, I didn't buy their anything, and their banter even when they're fighting the first time he meets her,
not good. Yeah,
it's not good. Like, it's supposed to be kind of playful. Like, she's like charmed by how good he is, and he realizes that she's not fighting to kill, and they're kind of having a moment. But I didn't buy it. And when he does that thing where he lifts her up by one arm, I feel like their character dynamic is supposed to be like two equals who are like game respecting game. But in that scene, they are not equals. Like, he's holding her with his arm. She can't go anywhere. Like, he clearly won. And I don't know. There was something about that where I felt like he is supposed to respect her as an equal, but then nothing in the movie is making her be an equal to him.
Yeah, but I'm just glad that she was able to hold her own a lot, and that she wasn't a damsel in distress. I think that was nicely done.
She is like apparently the only person who can get away from Idris Elba.
Yeah. Like in the Russia sequence, basically the only reason the world hasn't been saved is because Jason Statham and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson didn't stay home that day.
Yeah,
like she would have escaped all on her own, basically, if not for them.
Yeah. No, Idris Elba, I think, casually walks away with her twice in this movie. It's like, hey, guys, go get her. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Can we talk about his spinal cord? What the hell? What is going on there? So this is the world now where cybernetic people exist? Is that what I'm supposed to believe?
That's the whole fucking point of the movie.
I really don't like it.
But he's the only one. Like, every time
he is the beginning of Weapon X. He is the first person to have the procedure on because he was terminally shot in the head and in the chest, and he should have died, which I think is the real way that Han's coming back, is he is another patient of the organization, not the actual leader of it.
Because why would a good idea? That is such a good idea. I love it. It makes me so happy. Why did Idris have silver teeth? Is that where he was shot in the head?
That's the dumb thing that I don't get. It's like,
maybe he just likes silver teeth.
Also, why is it just those ones? Like, if you're getting cybernetic augmentation everywhere else, why not have an entire fucking chin that's metal?
Well, okay, so my feeling is, like, okay, he has been augmented. They clearly have the resources to keep re-augmenting him because they repair him, like, over and over again in this movie. So how come his crew have nothing? Like, why is he the only one where any of this?
There's literally a scene where he says, "Time to earn your upgrades."
Yeah. And I thought, oh, they have upgrades, but I guess they don't.
Yeah.
I thought it was a flight thing again.
just go back to our review of Alita Battle Angel. Not everybody has the super cool chromed out shit. Some people just have little augments. Some people just have gloves that make their guns work.
Yeah.
One thing that always bothers me about movies that have layers that are in the middle of nowhere is, where do the employees live? And, like, what do they do on the weekends?
We don't know.
Well, that's the whole point, is they die before the end of their shift. So it's always new employees. That's why they're so bad. You look new.
It really bothers me. I don't like. I feel like they need to have personal lives. They need to have schools for their kids, but, like, they're just on the middle of a Russian research facility. It was very dumb.
Yeah.
Again, very dumb.
Yeah.
This movie is very, very dumb.
But I loved it. Very dumb. And there's just something about, like, I don't know. That whole sequence, again, it was another one where I was glad they deflated what I'd seen in the trailer. Like, the trailer shows them both, for whatever reason, they won't just go through the same door, so they have to beat up double the number of people. I don't know why, but, that's a thing.
So they established that it requires two people to activate the door at the same time to open it.
Okay.
So it's a security thing for the base.
Okay.
So that way somebody can't just sneak in through one tunnel. It's a thing where the people in that room who can see the people in this room have to both open the door in sequence.
Okay.
It's dumb. I'm not saying it's not dumb. I'm just saying that they've established that.
That was in the trailer.
Another dumb thing.
I was definitely afraid, like, that was going to be it, and then they'd, like, continue with their plan, and I was glad it at least deflated the trailer a little to be like, the moment that scene ends, they are caught already.
That's it. Yeah.
But still, the whole dynamic of that lair, I just didn't. I wasn't vibing with it. I didn't feel like I was able to feel the stakes enough to be, like, thrilled that they got out alive. It just felt like a kind of dumb thing that let them go through the shock situation that I guess is what the movie wanted us to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie never, like, how do you articulate? It never settles down to, I mean, there's a scene on the airplane with, we haven't even really talked about Kevin Hart. But like, you never feel like, it just keeps pushing. And I think sometimes you need those ebbs and flows to make a movie feel like a cohesive unit, I guess. Like, there's usually like a moment of, oh shit, we're really screwed. But this is just like, no, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep going. And I don't know, it could have taken some breaks and like had some more, I don't know, I hate to say character development, but it just was so rushed and forced. It just never, I guess that's a Fast and Furious movie, baby. I guess that's what they do.
And normally those don't bother me. That's why I feel like it has to be like when the magic isn't there, then the formula of push doesn't work for me anymore.
Yes.
And something about this broke the magic, so the formula started to feel weird.
Yes, thoroughly agree. Yeah. I can't believe I haven't said it. I haven't said it yet. Mike Oxmall. Gotta be honest, didn't see that coming, and I've thought a lot of those names for high school projects. Yep. I did not see that one coming, and I thought I no joke, I was the only one laughing, and I was laughing so hard that I probably looked a little crazy.
I liked it. I liked that bit.
I thought that was great, and then Hugh Janus also.
No, I think that scene only works because The Rock is selling his reaction to hearing the name.
Mike Oxmall. Yeah. That was good. That was good.
Yep.
But it sounded like Jason Statham was trying to get rid of The Rock altogether, but that failed to do so because, as The Rock says, everyone loves me, and he was able to get past the airport security.
Yeah. It was just because after they put the gloves on, they still couldn't search him.
And then they just ruined it with F1, F2, FU right after that. So.
Oh, you loved that. That's funny. And so the stinger of this movie is the Hugh Janus part where Jason Statham's in a bar and he's surrounded by police. At some point, they just arrest him, and they're like, oh, this is the mass murderer from, like, wherever Fast 7 took place, wherever the brother was stashed. And, like, you killed 32 doctors and nurses. You are going to jail forever. So,
when you tell me those doctors never killed nobody?
Well, there's accidents, as Neil deGrasse Tyson taught us this week.
Yep.
Anyway,
wow.
That's it.
Statistically speaking, who cares if you kill many people?
Yikes. Did this become the political warning podcast?
Yeah. No, apparently, except for it was without warning.
Yeah, so anything else with this movie? I mean, it's pretty dumb. I'm very disappointed, but that motorcycle, pretty cool.
The motorcycle was cool. Ryan Reynolds didn't work for me either in this movie.
Ryan Reynolds always works for me.
So it was a whole thing where the reason I wanted to watch Furious 8 after this is I felt like he must have been a big component of Furious 8, and that's why I'm supposed to think it's funny right now that they're talking. And then I've heard he wasn't in it.
He wasn't, and I feel like
it was all random.
I feel like there's people that are having way too much fun, like taking people who are tangentially related to other things, like the fact that he plays Deadpool, who is like in like the shittiest version of that character, was part of like the Weapon X program and was like turned like basically given adamantium skin and then. I don't know. It just seems like there's a bunch of weird shit that they're trying to link together and make it like, isn't it funny that we're doing this? It's like, no, it's not, but I'm still in for it.
Yeah.
I love Ryan Reynolds. I think any opportunity for him to just babble is always fun. When he pulls out the half of the BFF heart and says, we are literally best friends forever, and The Rock is like, I don't have the other half of that. Please stop saying we're best friends.
Is that better or worse than I still like the tattoo.
The tattoo. The tattoo was good. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And I thought there was a joke about watching your back, and I thought there may have been talking about how, yes, I'll wash your back.
Yeah, that one was good. I like that one.
I liked it, and him and the dog, like, it's great. I love Ryan Reynolds. I thought the Kevin Hart thing was also a lot of fun. Dinklage, and him being on the toilet, great. He's in a fart tube, great. I'm on board for all these jokes. But the Statham Rock banter just wasn't working. I wish I could articulate why.
I still think it's on purpose. It feels like it's supposed to be bad.
See, for me, none of the banter in the movie worked, so it couldn't have been on purpose. Like, no banter moment worked for me in this movie.
Why is this movie not better? It hurts me. It hurts me that it's not better.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be better. I thought this was going to be $1 billion smash hit, and who knows, maybe it'll still make $1 billion, but it's just not that great. not into it.
Yeah, I did like that at the diner on The Rock's cheat day, he eats like 40 pancakes. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The Rock is just Gaston now.
Yeah, he basically does the smart Hulk thing where he's just like...
That was pretty good. You're right. I did appreciate that. And I don't know. You know what? This is how I described it, not to mention my wife again. Jesus, I must like her. This is one of those rare, sad situations where the trailer is better than the movie. Do you know what I mean? The trailer, the premise, the music they chose in the trailer, Why Can't We Be Friends, like all those little moments where you're like, this is going to be so fun. And then the movie's just not that fun. So that's where I stand.
Yeah. I'm with you. Only I didn't give it a must-see.
Well, should we like, Steven, how does it feel to be on a podcast with me? This is your first time?
It feels great. It's a good feeling. I liked it. I've only... One interesting thing about the dynamic is because whenever you've been on, I've been out of the country. I've always listened to you on the podcast while I'm like in China or something. So like I associate your episodes particularly with like me wandering around in a random place being like, why am I listening to a thing about John Wick 2 right now?
Great movie.
And it's really nice to combine it into home life.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I can't wait for Jumanji 2 so we can reunite.
Jumanji 2, I think it's going to be good. I have faith. And man, if they make a sequel to this movie.
Well, let's be honest though. Whether or not it's good, you're going to give it a must-see.
I don't know. This one, I struggle with the must-see, but it's just that motorcycle is really worth the price of the ticket. When it kind of like comes apart and it's autonomous, but he never tells it to show up. It just shows up. Like, at least in the original Batman, Michael Keaton has some kind of device to bring the car to him, and then it knows how to turn, and he says stop, and it stops. It's like, oh, I get it. He's somehow voice control in 1989, very impressive. This one, it just comes to him like, that's amazing.
He definitely says like plot a course for intercept and shit to it. So like
that was really cool too. I mean, all that stuff was great, and it kind of builds on
Doesn't Alita Battle Angel have a motorcycle thing kind of like that?
They have like a one-wheel motorcycle that I don't know if it does anything, though.
I feel like there was a scene like the one of Idris going under the truck and reconfiguring or whatever that happened in Alita too. Like, because even that, I thought it was really cool, but I felt like I've seen that this year already, and I don't know why.
I see one-wheel motorcycles every day in San Francisco. They're just tech bro assholes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I did like how the motorcycle built on the magic of the motorcycle in Dark Knight, where his motorcycle somehow can like go up a wall and then go around and kind of like go skinny mode, and I was very happy to see motorcycle stuff. That was some magic technology I enjoyed, unlike the spinal cord and the eyes and the super strength. And he does say bulletproof in the trailer, but then he's just wearing a suit.
And
that pissed me off.
Why is it in every movie when a person has a bulletproof suit, they're fine just walking around with their head exposed, like nobody's going to shoot the head?
Well, he normally has
Did no one play
helmet
video
on.
games?
He normally has a helmet on, which I assume is also bulletproof.
Yeah.
In
the opening
the
scene with Vanessa Kirby, he's walking around with his head exposed, and he just like couldn't care less about the 8 people with guns around him.
He also does basically deflect bullets with his hand in that scene. So
that was pretty dumb. He holds up his hand like frickin' Neo and just blocks the bullets.
Except for the bullets don't stop in front of him; they just hit his hand.
Yeah, and he's perfectly fine with that. And then they do there's a throwaway line where they give bulletproof, super thin tracksuits to The Rock and Jason Statham. It's like that. It's stupid.
We literally fucking reviewed John Wick.
That's a stupid part of John Wick. I hate that part when he holds up his sleeve and he's just able to block with his jacket. That's because the jacket flaps in the wind. It would go through. It would push the jacket out of the way. Don't get me started. I love John Wick so much. Don't make me dislike that movie.
All right.
I love it.
Well, before I make you dislike John Wick, we should probably just send everybody on their way.
Yeah. God, can I downgrade my No,
nope,
it's
already there.
You gotta see The Rock and Jason Statham in a movie together. It's so fun, and it's so stupid, though.
Yep. David Klein, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Again, I really appreciate it. Always a good time.
And we'll see you
with Hobbs to Desecration of Shaw. Damn it, I ruined the show.
Definition of Shog?
Jesus. Also, Chris, you forgot to add the colon every time you said the name of this movie. I liked how you did that for John Wick 3.
Is there a colon in
Fast and Furious
in
presents?
the middle of the
I hope
episode?
so.
I did check. There is a colon.
Okay. Fast and Furious presents colon
There it is.
Hobbs and Shaw. There was a colon in the TSA checkpoint when The Rock tried to get on the plane.
Yeah.
Oh God, you're the worst.
Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
Should I stop recording?